If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease. All right. Hey, we are live here. It is October 23rd, and we are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube. So if you're here, drop me a comment. I'm going to do an hour here and then I am going to go over to TikTok. So in the past, I've tried to stream both places and I'm just not that talented when it comes to the multitasking. So there are just so many things that we could talk about today. I think what I'm going to do is, so October is my birthday month. So on my birthday, I like to run a nice panel of labs and just see where things are at. So because I can't really, you know, for privacy reasons and whatnot, I can't share other people's labs with you, but I am more than willing to share my own story, right? So, in this group setting environment, this is a free group coaching place where you don't have to be a client. It's open to anybody to kind of get an introduction of who I am and what I do and kind of how I work. So, um, if you are in a group coaching package, then we do that in a more private setting, and we can absolutely do individual one on one advice. In this setting, in the free group coaching, we don't do advice here. We just do general terms, we do storytelling, we do sharing. We talk about natural solutions to common problems. We talk a lot about root causes, detox, and parasite cleanse. So today I'm going to show you. Last week I showed you guys my Dutch test from years ago. And I had said I was going to redo that. I haven't done it yet. So that is still in the works. But this is my blood work. So, what I do, I offer a service, and you can just do this once and not continue service with me. Like, that's fine. This is kind of an introductory thing that anybody can do if you already have your labs or if you need labs drawn. So I do not bill insurance. If you do any lab work with me, it is going to be all just straightforward and out of pocket. I don't upcharge for it. Here in the clinic, I do my own blood draws, spin, send out. If you live virtually or somewhere else, I can send you a kit. You have to go to a draw center where they will draw your blood and spin it and then send it to the lab. And those, a lot of people aren't even familiar that that's an option that can be done, but it definitely can be done. So what I want to do, I see a couple of people have joined in on the platforms. And let me get my little window open so I can see chat. So if you're here, just say hi. The chat is super delayed on my end. So if I don't respond or I don't see it right away, just give me your second or two. There is quite a significant delay. So, once again, I'm Nurse Tanya. I consider myself divorced from the sick care system, right? So, it's hard to define who I am and what I do. Um, I'm not exaction oh, Susan, thank you. I'm not exactly functional. So let me just kind of take a minute to explain some of these terms that we use. When you're looking for our alternative practitioner, there's so many different names out there, and it's really hard to weed through what people do. So, as a nurse, I keep my nursing license. I do IV drips. Nurses educate. That is one of our main job as a nurse is education. So I furthered my education into the functional realm. So when we talk about functional medicine, we talk about how is the body functioning, right? So we're not necessarily looking for a diagnosis in the medical realm. They're looking for a diagnosis. They're going to give you a diagnosis code. They're going to give you treatments and medications to treat the diagnosis, not necessarily treating you. What I do, we want to treat you like the whole person. We want to treat you. So, functional medicine sometimes gets so it looks a lot like normal medicine, where we're treating symptoms with nutrition or with supplements. So functional medicine is still kind of really stuck in that symptom modality, right? So something that I really like to do first, if I can get away with it, if the client is willing, is called foundational wellness or foundational medicine. That's where we are doing a deep work, parasite cleanse and detox, and working on your mitochondria, like getting your energy back, getting things going again. And that's foundational, like that's setting the foundation for health. We're going to work on um, digestion. We're going to work on how you're eating. We're going to work on how you're thinking. We're going to work on what you're breathing, like quality of life. All those things are setting the foundation, right? So, my favorite way of doing that is with Cellcore. We do at a minimum, if you're just kind of a healthy person, at a minimum, we do a 4-month protocol. So, generally speaking, this is very generally speaking, we do 4 months of the detox. The first stage, we open your draining pathway. Month two, we go deep into the gut and work on those big areas, those big microbes, those parasites. And then we just keep fine tuning that. In phase four, we're kind of going to get to heavy metals and candida. And then the follow up for that, every full moon for at least 4 months, you're going to do a protocol to make sure you get the eggs, to make sure you get the shedding. So that is absolutely perfect. Some people who are really feeling pretty good and all their labs are normal, that's all they need. Like they're just like, I'm good. That was amazing. We do the 7 inflammatory foods for those 4 months. You avoid the 7 inflammatory foods, and it's amazing. People just get their life back, especially if their main complaint is hormone imbalance and fatigue. After that 4 months, what they get their life back. They are winning again. And that is the foundation, right? So and if that's not the case, after that 4 months, there's still struggles. You're still on the struggle bus, or you had autoimmune disease, or cancer, or something deeper than that in your background. Then then it's a comprehensive protocol, and it is more products. It's gonna take 9 to 12 months before you even really start to feel like you've got your health back. We have to remember, how many years did it take to get sick, right? That didn't happen overnight. So it is a huge investment in your time, in your behavior modification, in how you're eating, like, but your health is the biggest and most important investment you will ever make. So that is the foundation. And then once like we've got that done, then we want to look at the functional medicine side. So now that you're detoxed, now that your garden is clean and we pulled all the weeds, now we want to fine tune. And if you're still really struggling with digestive issues, it's time to test for food allergies. If you're still really struggling with hormonal issues, it's time to get a Dutch test. It's time to look deep at your thyroid. So it all depends on what order you can do these things in and how much money you can spend. We can do all this functional testing before you start your detox and retest. We can do it that way too. But all of these things we customize for you. I do bioenergetic testing, and that helps us get through every stage. It helps us really harmonize your body and put these pieces together so your body is just set up to win, like you are winning. So, what I'm going to show you guys today is my blood work that I just did. I had started to say, this is something that you can do. You can get me your blood work. I can plug in your numbers, or I can help you get a kit. So, one of the frustrations that a lot of us have is that we get blood work done and you go to the doctor and they're like, it's all normal. Like everything looks normal. And you're like, but doctor, I don't feel normal. Like, I feel like poop, right? I have no energy, this and that. I don't feel normal. So, this is where we take a functional look, right? So, those blood markers and their normals are all, they're not irrelevant, but yet let's look at this at the big picture. Let me get my screen set up to share with you here. So these are my personal labs. My personal story, I started healing on this healing journey almost 5 years ago. So I feel like amazing now compared to how I felt not that long ago. Let me see. I'll first show you like the lab report, what it looks like when you just get it back from the doctor. Got too many windows open here, so I'm kind of struggling to figure out which one it is. Think it's this one. So these are my lab reports. I don't know why, and I'm sorry. Like when you think you have thyroid problems and you go to the doctor and they just pull a handful of labs, right? They just pull a couple of things. They rarely take that deep dive that we need them to take for like 4 years. You got to go complaining about being sick for years before they test that thyroid deep enough. So I did not know when I first started this, I did not know that I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So that's a name, that's an actual diagnosis that you're not going to find in my medical chart because I never went to a medical doctor for that. But this is so that it's almost false information because you're not going to find it in my chart, but this is what it is. This I am self-diagnosing. It is that Hashimoto's. So there again, when we go and um I'm just going to go to the thyroid numbers here quickly. So when I test a thyroid, when I test my thyroid, I'm not looking to diagnose anything, right? I'm looking for function. And I need to know one, how much hormone am I making? I need to know two, is my body converting it? And I need to know three, are my cells sensitive to it? So there's so much more in this testing, right? So medically speaking, when you go to the doctor, this TSH, they always check that. They always check your TSH. Maybe they'll do a free T4 or T3 total, it depends on the doctor, but they never do the reverse and they never do the antibodies unless you've been sick for years and you're begging them to, right? So sorry, I don't know why. I don't know why any of this is the way it is. Um, Maybe I can zoom in for you. Maybe not. So this is me. And this is pretty scary. If I was gonna go to a doctor, I just had somebody come in last week, and she needed to be talked off the ledge because her ABS, her peroxidase, was like 2000 something, and they were trying to talk her into cutting her thyroid out. Um, Mine is super high. In May, it was 3,400. So this is super abnormal. And if I wanted to be scared about something, I could be scared about that. I really could. But I know that I've been doing a lot, a really deep, some new detox, because when we have Hashimoto's, when you have this condition that I have going on, it's not that my body is attacking my thyroid like the medical explanation. My body is trying to clean my thyroid because there's something in there like the Epstein-Barr virus, right? So my body is cleaning my body. 5 years from now, I might be saying something completely different. Like, I might be wrong, but this is me. This is my story. When you walk in my door, I you have to make your own decisions. I do not advise you in these decisions. I can tell you my story and how I'm going to handle it, but as a holistic practitioner, I'm integrative. I do not replace your doctor care. I do not. That is not my role. My role is not what to tell you to do with your medications, with your health. You need to use my nutritional advice, my lifestyle modification advice with the advice of your healthcare provider. If that is the route you choose. That is all an individual choice, okay? So again, here in this story, I'm just telling you my story and the choices that I'm making um, for my, for my personal health, right? And I'm being pretty bold putting this out on social media, and I could get a lot of flack for it, or I could get a pat on the back. You don't know. And that is, I'm okay with either one because this is just my story, right? So this is super high. In May, it was 3,500. Still super high, right? The normal range is anything above 60 is questionable. But you can see here, all of my other thyroid function is in the normal range. I don't love that this reverse is high. And depending on how we do time wise, I've got a graph that I can show you guys that I use a lot to explain this. So the reverse is the opposite of what we should be making. When our body's making the reverse thyroid, that means that there is like a conversion issue. Instead of getting the good usable T3, which I still have plenty of, we're getting this reverse. But the reverse is when you've got inflammation. For me, I think that I've probably been fasting too hard. Um, I need to eat different. So I have been for years intermittent fasting, or pretty much doing one meal a day. And that can be hard on your thyroid. It really can. I eat now. I haven't eaten yet today. I need to do a high protein shake about 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm still trying to implement that. Then I'm good not to eat for 6 hours. And then I need to eat another high protein, low carb, no gluten, no dairy. I'm still negotiating with myself every day on the dairy. If I've got ice cream, I just put it in my coffee, but dairy and gluten, when we have anything going on with our thyroid, is so important to get off of there. I need to do some more work on my gut. I'm probably going to start on some achromatia. That helps. I've got a GLP-1 achromatia, so it helps with those things as well. But anyway, the rest of my numbers are solid. And because I knew this number was going to be bad, and because I like to run once a year, I also ran tumor markers. And I was thinking that a CEA should have been in that set, but it's not. these tumor markers are female tumor markers, and those I need to watch my inflammation when my thyroid is so wacky. Keeping my inflammation down is super important. So there again, that's why we don't do dairy, we don't do gluten. But my tumor markers, they're all good, they're all safe. So not really worried about them. I did endocrine, DHEA, cortisol. I did insulin. So I did a diabetic panel, like, or a because last time I did this in May, my pancreas was on the struggle bus and I didn't feel good when I did that. So I knew something was up. My inflammation was really high. My pancreas markers were off. So my amylase and lipase were they really high or really low? But they were really saying I had some itis in my pancreas in May last time I did those. So those are good. If you are on, wondering if you are like metabolically challenged or type 2 diabetic, we want to keep an eye on your amylase and your lipase, because we want to know if your pancreas is stressed, because that's where you're actually making insulin. um, we want to know what your insulin number is. So drives me wacky. In normal medical evaluation, they will call you insulin resistance, or give you metformin and say you have type 2 diabetes, but they never check your actual insulin number, right? So how can they call you insulin resistant when they don't know what your insulin number is? So mine is 4.3. I've had that when I've tested where it's been in the red because it's too low. So there again, if I'm in danger of not making, if my pancreas is in trouble because it's full of flukes, because it's full of parasites, because it's struggling, I need to know that. But like, I've done a lot of parasite work, and praise the Lord, my pancreas function is much better. So here on these labs, and then my hemoglobin A1C, that's good. I'll take 5.1. That's good. You'll see normal. If it gets up to 5.7 or over, they start throwing out those diagnoses. They start throwing out those drugs and wanting, to mitigate that way. So you can see on paper, this looks pretty stellar, right? And I've had that down to 4 before, so it'll bounce around a little bit. Another thing that we always want to look at, is your triglycerides and your cholesterol. My cholesterol is slightly high, and that is because my body is trying to build hormones. Cholesterol, not going to worry about that one bit. I do love that my triglycerides is nice and low. I just had a rogue test like back in May, and my triglycerides were high. Like my body, like I said, I took the blood because I didn't feel good. This I took just because it's October and we do a yearly look at. So looking deeply at this, my CRP here, so that's your inflammation marker. We always want to look at that 1.9. Like here, it says that reference range, that's good, right? My vitamin D, it is a little bit low. It could be better. Honestly, this winter, I plan on going to the Rouge to her new tanning bed. I don't think I'm gonna take vitamin D. I've really started to question that lately. Question it for me anyway. The synthetic vitamin D, I don't know where I stand on that right now. So when I do my bioenergetic scan, if that also tells me I need vitamin D, then I might consider taking it for 30 days and reevaluating. But for now, I just don't know how I feel about that. So I'm gonna quick go back and just look at comments, see if anybody's got anything to say here. Okay, I don't see anything. There's a couple people watching, even on YouTube. I love that. And I saw Pam say hi. Thanks, Pam. Thanks for tuning in. If you all like and share this video, I would appreciate it. We've got some time left. I am going to, so we looked at this. We kind of, the iron, I'm not worried about. Cholesterol, totally not worried about. And the thyroid stuff, I'm really not worried about. So, um, let's see, I'm going to switch screens. So now I can show you what I do is take all those numbers and plug them in to my functional assessment software. That is going to look like this. So this report is, no, that's not the one that I want. So that's talking about it, but let's see. The one I want is not that. Sorry, it's taking me a second here. I'm going to try this one. All right, hold on with me. Yep, so this is the functional report. Then when I hit this, I generated like the whole works, right? And it's, you can see up here, it's 80 pages. So we're gonna fly through this. We're not gonna worry about 80 pages. But so this I pay a penny for the software. It takes all of those numbers that we saw that would be just how you get your labs back from the doctor. And this is going to tell me um, optimal function. So we're looking for optimal function, not normal lab values or this or that or the other thing. So you can see, although my glucose was in the normal range, this tells me it's above optimal. My hemoglobin A1C, that's pretty well optimal. Then these are some other numbers that it uses to factor those things in. Not bad. Insulin, it could be lower, and that would be a little bit better. These are all, for time's sake, we're not going to get too deep in all this, but these are all, and like if you were my client, if we were sitting here, we can talk about every single marker here if you'd like, all looking for optimal. Like this guy here below optimal, I don't think it'll let me click on there. Oh, it will. So, and then it will tell me progression towards type 2 diabetes after prolonged untreated insulin resistance. So, like, there is always that noise in the background. Let's go back here. So I probably won't click around like that anymore. It throws me all off. Electrolytes, my sodium, it says a little bit high. That too, like totally not going to worry about, because that checking electrolytes in your blood level to me is, it's not bad. It's not good or bad, but there too, it's not optimal because this is the sodium, it's the intercellular level that there's no way to test for, that is a little bit more important, or would be really cool to know. So electrolytes, this chloride a little above, we're going to keep going through them. Another metabolic, that's optimal. I like that. Enzymes, optimal. I like that. Proteins, not too bad. Albumin is a little bit low. I have thought about, even just midday warming up some bone broth for protein, or maybe doing a supplement, an amino acid supplement. Even my collagen. I'm not very regular about getting my collagen in. I could do that, be a little bit better on the bulletproof coffee. Minerals, not too bad. Liver, gallbladder. So for me, this is much better than the last time I looked at it. Like I said, I had my pancreas was fired up in May. This all looks better. Iron marker, those are a little high, which is unusual for me. In my 20s, I was so anemic. I've had chronic gastritis. I was so anemic. So that is not very often that my iron numbers are high like this. But what that tells me, and I have been wearing copper, I've been drinking out of copper, but it tells me that it might be time for me to add in that copper supplement. A lot of times a little bit of copper helps your body use iron. Like instead of getting stuck in your muscles, I tend to get stiff and sore muscles. So that might be something I need to look at. My lipids, like I said, I totally am not going to worry about that. They're above optimal. That's just not, don't worry about that one bit. My thyroid, you can see here, optimal. it says my TSH is a little above optimal. So would mean that my thyroid is running a little behind. So looks normal, right? On those paperwork that we saw earlier. Here, all's just, pretty decent in that optimal range. Kind of surprises me that that reverse that they want me to be making reverse. So I guess, that's where it's at. Then here's the scary ones that are way over here. The other ones all in that optimal range, right? And my inflammation, if you remember from the first labs, the actual lab report, it said my inflammation wasn't bad. But here, it definitely is creeping up in the way above optimal level. So for me, I could do a lot of things to reduce my inflammation, but it really comes down to still continuing to work on my gut. Last time I did my bioenergetic test, corn came up as a no no. And I had really been living on corn chips because we don't do gluten. And I know corn is in the 7 foods to stay away from, but I thought I was living in the 80-20 zone, but way totally doing too much corn, and my body called me out on it. So I have been listening there, and I do a lot of fermented. I made fermented salsa, so I do have grain-free chips. So I've been a good girl. I took out the corn, the dairy. I've been better. I need to keep working on that dairy. The gluten, that just doesn't bother me a bit. I can live without gluten. On those 7 foods, egg as well. I never just eat a whole egg, but if I make my gluten-free pancakes, I put an egg in it on Saturdays. So 80-20. That egg is gonna happen once a week. Um, what else? Can't think of anything else that I really get an egg involved. My C-reactive protein, that's optimal. This platelet, lymphocyte, that's a little high. I honestly would have to look that up. I'm not sure what that's about. Have to look that up. Vitamin D, I talked about that a little bit ago, is below optimal. Not sure how I feel about that or what I'm going to do about that. I have vitamin D at home, but I had not been using it, obviously. I haven't used it for years. When I first went through the Wellness Way as a patient, they had me taking 20,000 units a day. And I think it was only 29. It wasn't that low then. And it didn't make me feel really different when I was taking it. And there's controversy with that synthetic vitamin D. It is, you got to have the K for sure. You've got to have the K with it. Or the D itself is the same synthetic ingredient in decon rat poison. And honestly, that's what's bothering me about it. That's what's bothering me about the vitamin D, especially the high dose vitamin D. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it. Sorry, I lost my place. And the vitamin B12 and the folate, I know better. I need to take that every day. And I too, I ran out of it and I didn't replace it. And you're taking so many things. But I know for me that I've done the genetic test and I can show you guys that. Maybe I'll do that next week. I've done the genetic test. I have the MTHFR mutation. So that's super a big deal. These B vitamins are a big deal. And then when your digestion is not quite right, when your microbes are not right, you have to have the right microbes for your body to ferment and make B vitamins. So that being low tells me I need to still work on my gut health. I need to supplement the folate. I need to stay away from folic acid. Anything that is fortified with fake vitamins is toxic to me. If you have the MTHFR mutation, it those fake spray on fortified grains are straight poison to you. Your body cannot handle them. So I need to do better about that. Easy fix, right? Work on the digestion, take the B supplement. It's worth it. My DHEA, which is made in your adrenal glands from all those years, all those stress as age, this goes down. This goes down, your energy goes down, your ability to mitigate and handle stress goes down. It affects your cortisol, it affects your progesterone, it affects all those things. So we want our body to eventually make more DHEA, apt herbs like ashwagandha can really help that. Bringing down inflammation can really help that. And we can take the DHEA. So I've got a really nice supplement that's got the DHEA, that's got the B vitamins, and I went back on it this morning, right? So your energy feels better. It's like literally like putting on a pair of crutches. When this is low, just like, and it's an inflammatory response, it's really hard for your immune system to get happy and fix things when it feels like it doesn't have gas in the gas tank, right? So I always say we put on crutches. If we have a inflammatory broken ankle, swollen ankle, twisted ankle, you put on crutches, you use crutches until that is better to help your body, to support your body. So sometimes we just orally take the DHEA to help support our body in the healing process. And sometimes we just like the way we feel when we have the extra, so you stay on it. So this is my normal CBC. Those can be, you get them run on the lab report, everything looks fine. So, but I've got a few, that's my hemoglobin again, that's above average, which super surprises me. After being anemic for all of my 20s and 30s, it's amazing to see that at all. These other numbers, platelets, MVP, mine is that's always high. That's like your size and shape. And that can be an inflammatory thing too. I need to go back and look that up, what that connection is with your thyroid. There is a connection there though. Um, WBCs, neutrophils, like that's a little above. This monocytes is a little above. The basophils is above. So all interesting, interesting, interesting. And then it's gonna break that same information down in multiple ways. So we're cruising through this. There's 80 pages. But those are all, I mean, just over analyzing all this information, however you want to look at it. What I like, and then this explains every single marker. It brings it down to relevance for you. So you can read through all of that and understand everything that they're trying to tell you. Now, this is the functional assessment. So that is going to tell me about functional, the probability of dysfunction. So look at that. My numbers, just in black and white, look like my blood sugar was pretty stellar to me, right? Made me feel like I should give myself a pat on the back. But here, when we analyze the function, optimal function, this says, girl, you better get that in check. Your blood sugar regulation is not the best. So this puts that need above my thyroid need, right? So what does that tell me? That the secret sauce to bringing down that scary ABS number in my thyroid might have something to do with my blood sugar regulation. So it's all connected, right? It's all metabolic. And my body's cleaning itself up. That's why that is level, because my antibodies, my body is doing its job. It's trying to get that Epstein-Barr virus out of there. So I need to keep my inflammation down, stay as good everywhere else as I can, rest, work on my nervous system, I need to practice what I preach and do the deep breathing techniques. There's a gal here at the Rouge. She put in a cold plunge. Oh, that's on my list of things that I need to do, but I don't want to do. That cold water, yuck. But all those things will help my body in this healing process. Adrenal function, that's next on the list, is taking care of my adrenals, then thyroid, then immune system, then red blood cells, then cardiovascular, then gut, way down here, then liver, then bone, then gallbladder, then kidney. So it helps me prioritize what I need to help my body function optimally. So here are more markers that tell me it's same information. It's just going it on a little bit different. Like this is a deep explanation. Blood sugar. It tells me which labs that it's bringing into here. The biomarkers that tell me very specifically how they determined that I could be dysfunctional there in that area. So all this information, if this is something that you would like to have done, you can go to my link in bio. Link in bio page is everywhere. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and I've got a link that just says Functional Labs. And this is a service that I provide for think it's $150. You get me your labs and I will run this report for you. And the report is yours. You don't have to do any further care with me if you don't wish to. If you wish to do further care, then I can go one level further. And I like to do bioenergetic testing as well. And then in this program, I like to use Designs for Health or Standard Process are my main supplement lines of choice, or Cellcore, of course. But in this test here, the way we're doing this, we're looking at it from a functional medicine perspective, not a foundational medicine perspective. So then I can use this software to generate optimal supplements that will help you function better. So, help you with your vitamin status, help me with my glucose status. Like there are herbs that we use to help the cell sensitivity. So, you're utilizing glucose better. So, in that, and I can show that to you guys too. I think I have to re click it because I didn't save it. I can show you what metabolic syndromes, telling me probable dysfunction. It'll probably tell me that I have metabolic syndrome. So that's pre to the type 2 diabetes. Dysglycemia, fancier word for blood sugar issues. Iron overload, that still really is amazing. Bacterial infection. So that one I hadn't really thought of, like even with that thyroid number, I hadn't thought of treating that bacterially. I've been treating it detox or herbally, thinking of more of that virus. I've been doing this little electric box. But yeah, that was the first that I had really thought of that. Let me see if I can share. So I'll look for comments again if anybody has any comments. Um, I don't, Pam. I don't. I'm not really a recipe person. Like food recipes, I don't really have food recipes to share. So just looking at comments, Pam asked if I have recipes to share. I think she means food. I'm not a foodie. Like if you work with me one to one, if you're one of my clients, I've got some sweet software that helps me fill in the gaps there too. And it's got all the meal plans and the recipes. Like if we put you on a special eating regimen outside of the 7 foods, like, I can fill in the gaps, but I'm not a foodie. So that really helps me. That software helps me help my clients because the food is a really hard. I'm that person, I'd rather just do a protein shake and not worry about a meal, especially when I'm at work, because it's just hard getting quality food that isn't bad for you, is just hard. So I'm gonna kind of try to talk and do this at the same time. I'm gonna quick run the supplement portion of it so you guys can see that. Let's see. So it's super hard for me to talk and do that at the same time. So just give me a minute or two. I want to show you guys what the supplement recommendations, and again, that is coming from a from a functional side, not from, oh whoops, that's not what I wanted, not from a foundational side. So the beginning of the video, if you're just popped on, you can get the replay and a better explanation of foundational versus functional. Foundational medicine or foundational wellness is when we are pulling the weeds. We're doing a deep detox and getting mitochondrial function restored before we do functional medicine. Functional medicine gets kind of like um, regular medicine where you're doing supplements for symptoms. Foundational medicine is pulling the roots, pulling the roots, and then after that we see what we need. All right, I got that done. Thanks for bearing with me, my jibber jabber, while I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm gonna share my screen again. All right, so this, if I was just going to go by this, or I never just go by this, I always use my intuition, my symptoms, my bioenergetic testing, and bring a plan together. So these are not necessarily in order of importance. Well, I take that back. I think they are in order of importance. So what the system would be considered, you know, gonna help me with all these things that we just talked about. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 supplements. So that's just kind of a lot, isn't it? It really is. Well, this first one that they picked out was the one that surprised me, but that's the one that I should probably really consider. And it is a garlic, um, and it is for infection. So, what this report is telling me is that there just might be a micro infection somewhere bothering my body with that inflammation. It's probably not my thyroid because we know that's a virus. This could be a tooth. This could be in the gut somewhere. This could be anything. So this would be one of those. So I would probably just do this supplement, one bottle to the bottom, and then reevaluate and pay attention to how I felt. This is some strong stuff. This garlic, and garlic is nature's antibiotic. Another way I could do that, I've got honey fermented garlic. I could get to taking that one bulb a day. Maybe that's what I'll do. I've got some really good stuff from last year that, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Or maybe I'll do this pill. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. The next one is the Glucose Herbal Supreme. So that is going to help stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to help that cell sensitivity. It's going to help the insulin and glucose levels. So, again, everybody talks about hormone balance, hormone balance, hormone balance. If your blood sugar and your insulin is balanced and you detox, you get the endocrine disruptors out of there, you get the fake extra estrogens, and you clean things up, your hormones should balance without too much extra effort. So it, even a lot of times these hot flashes, those are more than likely insulin drops or spikes. just as much as they are hot flashes. So pay attention to that. If you're getting hot flashes, pay attention to if you eat something with sugar in it, even like maple syrup or honey or anything, and you notice within 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, you're getting one of your hot flashes, think again, friend. It's probably not your hormones, it's your body dealing with that spike in blood sugar. DHEA, I do think that that's worth doing. Like I said this morning, I took a supplement with some B vitamins and some DHEA, a combo. So I do think that my body could use that, especially when there's that little stressor in my thyroid. Your thyroid is all very connected. And what slays me is you go to the doctor, they put you on a thyroid medication. Right on the package insert for that thyroid medication, it says it is contraindicated with adrenal fatigue, but they never check you for adrenal fatigue. So my labs saliva test is better to include that if you're really looking for adrenal fatigue, which I have done in the past, and it exists. It is there. So your HPA access, your all of that speaks, all of that has to communicate correctly. And those stressors, that life of stress, gets your HPA access, so it's all jumbled up. It's not communicating. So again, if I was to just, go on levothyroxine and tweak on my thyroid, my adrenals would suffer even more. It would shunt my adrenal production. So these things we have to they all work together for the greater good. The ultra B12 folate, that is a given. That would be a good thing to do. Um, Vitamin D, that would probably would be beneficial. It would. Inflammatone, and that is just helping to mitigate that inflammation, helps with lymphatic drainage. I didn't really realize that about this product. That is something I think I have on the shelf. I've never taken myself. My like doing this little test, it doesn't like Cellcore is not in there, but my go-to would probably be IFC from Cellcore before this product, just because. But you can see so far it really hasn't said anything about my thyroid. Complete Multi, that's a good one too. And if I was to do that one, I wouldn't need that extra B. I wouldn't need the extra D. It's all in there. So 6 capsules a day. So 3 a day, or 2 with each meal. I don't eat 3 times a day. Um, Mineral complex. Minerals are so important, especially with adrenal fatigue. A lot of times in the afternoon, when you feel like when you just crashed and you're wanting coffee, you're wanting sugar, do yourself a favor and get some mineral and see if that does what you need. Or like one of those green drinks that have got like a green drink. I use Designs for Health. It actually tastes good. I've thrown out a lot of greens that I can't get myself to drink. But if you do a green drink, throw in a fiber, which helps your blood sugar balance, and throw in like a pack of minerals, like you will be amazed. You'll be raring to go for the rest of the afternoon. Now, this is good advice for anybody. These products you can find. If you go to my link in bio again, go under full script, and you can search for these products from Designs for Health. Their minerals would be good for anybody. They have got minerals in porridge water, this mineral complex that it's talking about. Then their greens, I like the one that is cranberry lemon flavored. I think that's the essential greens. The paleo greens, I can't speak to. I haven't tried, but those greens, that's good advice for anybody who hits that wall in the afternoon. Mineral, 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 and greens. The greens also hits your B vitamins. Really a great pick me up. So again, you can go to my link in bio, go down a ways to the Designs for Health and create yourself an account, and you can purchase those things there without having to come and see me. The last thing, digestizymes. And this one I really agree with. I have got to get regular and get on betaine. I was trying to do that, just with apple cider vinegar, and I forget all the time that betaine is so important. I, in the past, suffered greatly with stomach problems and was on a proton pump inhibitor forever. So my body still struggles to make proper stomach acid. And I do still have my gallbladder. Lo and behold, I cannot believe that somebody didn't try to cut that out of me years ago. I guess because I never go to the doctor. If I would have went to the doctor complaining with all the things I had to complain about, I would be missing a lot of body parts already. We can see they would have cut my gallbladder out of me. They would have cut my thyroid out of me. I did lose my uterus, but even now, knowing what I know, I'm I think that might have been the right choice. Like, oh, that was a hell of a mess. But it didn't solve any of my root problems. Like if you are transitioning poorly, if you are like really bleeding, if you're entering perimenopause and you're bleeding like you're gonna die once a month and things are all wacky, there are things we can do, starting with your blood sugar, starting with your digestion, deep dive detox, and that will probably self-resolve. We can do things like topical estrogen replacement. We can do topical pregnenolone. We can do a lot to help with those crutches. We do some testing, do some figuring these things out. Nobody has to suffer, and we shouldn't be having to lose our body parts. So that is how that report would look like. Again, if you're interested in doing this functional report, getting me your labs, that is going to be at your risk because I just have a normal email. It is not HIPAA compliant. If you're worried about that, then you can snail mail them to me. And the fee for that is $150. You don't have to do any further work with me if you don't want, or that can be a great introduction to our work together. If you'd like to know more about how to work with me, and how I work, you can go to my website. You can like snoop around there. I think it's under information. Like if you're a um, distance coaching works amazing. For the bioenergetic testing, you just send me a saliva sample. It works perfectly. And programs. I've got programs that we're going to get you from 4 months. The minimum is 4 months. The longevity is a year, and then there's one in between. So the distance programs, you're going to do a lot of homework. It's getting healthy is a lot of work. And if you've done other things in the past that don't work, it's because you started and you stopped and you started and you stopped and you started and you stopped. And all these lifestyle modifications, you got to get up every day committed to it. Doing it this way is not the easy button. If you really have no self discipline, you can't see yourself giving up gluten, you can't see yourself giving up dairy, then you're not ready. You just need to go to the doctor and get the prescriptions, because if you're not ready to change how you're eating, to give up those things, then you're wasting your money. You're wasting your money doing anything else, and you're still in the medical model. You're not ready to take control over your health, over your body. So that is all I have to say about that. And you don't have to be perfect. Like you heard, if you were here for this whole hour, you heard me talk about how imperfect I am. And I still do things that I know better to do. I still think things I shouldn't. I still honor my body, on a daily basis, but I try to do better. I have not arrived. Thank God I'm not where I used to be, but I have far from arrived. So living in a fallen world and living in flesh is a challenge, right? Is a challenge. And in throughout working with me on the programs, we work on mindset, we work on emotions, we work on all of it. I almost forgot before I get off. I finally finished my 30-day whole me program. So that too is offered on my link in bio. It says whole me. So it's a 30-day program. It's absolutely free. You don't need any supplements to work it. If you want to make it even more amazing, you can add the Jumpstart kit from Cellcore, but you don't have to. I don't even talk about the Cellcore product in the program. Um, you're going to use the whole 30 food program. So it's going to be food, it's going to be breathing, it's going to be journaling, and it's going to work on your stinking thinking as well as your habits. I love that whole 30 approach. They really, try not to focus on the bad. They try not to say what you're doing is bad. They just, they walk you through it. Clean up your diet for that 30 days and then start reintroducing how you're going to proceed after that 30 days. But I call it a abundance manifestation. It's biblically founded, so it's not new age hokey, no Sanskrit mantra, any of that. It is, but I believe in that word abundance manifestation, which it sounds new agey, but I use scripture. So even in abundance and the manifestation, we still have to work on our stinking thinking, right? We know that the one true God can do miracles for anybody, but we also know that we can pray all we want, but if our actions don't line up with healthy habits, like we expect to pray and be healed, but yet we're not changing how we're living. We're not changing what we're doing. Like we're blocking that abundance. So this program, this 30-day free program is going to help bring in your prayers for healing, your prayers for wholeness. We were designed, we were created by the creator to heal, not by the universe to bring us abundance, right? He will bring you abundance when we get out of the way, right? So that's where this program is. It is bringing all those things together to get us out of our way, to bring in that mantle, to bring in those miracles, and to sustain this, right? Because I've known people who have miraculous miracle healing from above, yet they lose it. Like, did the good Lord pull it away? I don't think so. If we can't change those behaviors, you don't keep the healing, right? So enough said on that subject. And it is not overly preachy. The program is not overly preachy at all. So it fits you wherever you're at, and you can take that as deep as you want, or you can leave it as shallow as you want. But it is a free tool. It is open to anybody. If you sign up for it, you table it and don't use it, that's fine too. We're coming up into the holidays and people go off rail for the holidays. So I could say, Whole 30, that might be a bad time to start that during the holidays, or I could say it's the perfect time to start that is during the holidays. So you can stay accountable. So you can say, no thank you to those foods you shouldn't be eating. And it's so sad that our holidays are tied up in sugar, that are all of those comfort foods and all of those holiday foods. And why is it tied up in sugar? So sorry, I am going to cut off this call. If you would like to do more, I'm going to hop over to TikTok and speak to the Created to Heal crowd over there. I am probably going to run a bioenergetic scan. So, TikTok, well, even here, there is also on my link in bio, you can register for a free bioenergetic scan. If you don't have any idea what a bioenergetic scan is, then hop over and find me on TikTok, and I'm about to show you. So thank you so much for joining. Anybody who is there, I appreciate any like, any share, any social media love you can give me, because I am not a full-time content creator, right? I am a full-time healer, I work full time. So all of this, I love bringing you this content, these videos, and I know as I put it out there, my audience will grow, people will grow. Um, but it takes a chunk out of my schedule. Every time I do it, I'm taking away from, a one-on-one appointment that I could be sitting out doing. So I love you all. Peace. Stay off gluten, stay off sugar, stay off dairy if you can. And then the four other things. If you want to know what they are, link in bio. There's a little printout of the 7 inflammatory foods there. Bye bye.